Welcome to the Country Hipster Podcast. My name is Paul. I am the Country Hipster. That music you heard was none other than the Unholy Four from Charlottesville, Virginia, and their mega hit song, Dirty Knife. Check out the Unholy Four on Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, and wherever you can find the Unholy Four. Real quick, just some real quick business here. Saturday, the 24th, I am playing at Wycombe Vineyard from like 2 to 6, I think is the time, or 1 to 5, something like that. At any rate, Wycombe Vineyard in Furlong, Pennsylvania. I will be playing some music there, and we will be having some fun and drinking some wine at Wycombe. To the far left in the Max Headroom box is my brother and co-host Adam, the country spandex wearing feverish bitch.
I only wear spandex when I'm having a fever because it makes me feel good about myself.
So then you've just answered last week's Q&A question that's on our Spotify. If you guys don't realize this, we actually have, if you go on Spotify and you scroll down a little bit, we actually have Q&A questions as well as a poll.
I wasn't aware of this.
You weren't aware?
What was the Q&A?
The Q&A for last week, hold on, let me bring it up. The Q&A for last week's episode, which we did have a couple responses, which I think was kind of cool, is, where is it? Why do you think Adam likes to wear spandex for real, though? So there have been two responses to that. Mine was because it keeps everything in its place.
It does.
And then friend of the podcast, Kristen, said it cuts down on wind resistance so he can move faster.
It does. It makes more aerodynamic when I fight.
Yeah,
it's simple science right there.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly.
Exactly. So now we just know that it's because you wear spandex when you have a fever.
Yeah.
So there you go. So to my immediate left, we want to welcome back our special guest. This is his second appearance on the podcast, the first one since episode 15, which was brand new Deja Entu. 33 episodes ago. 33 fucking
Feels
episodes
like
ago. I know. Let's welcome back my buddy Nick Murphy. So he's back.
Happy to be back.
There you go. Katai, you better be fucking clapping.
No, actually, Katai's in the background going out to smoke a cigarette, giving me the DX suck it.
Oh,
nice.
So she does know the whole Jim Morrison Touch Me reference.
She gave me she kind of rolled her eyebrows and gave me a weird look, and now she's walking out the door smiling.
There you go. All right, so Nick, as it is customary, whenever we have a return guest, I got to do a little interview here. I got to ask you some questions. So first of all, it's just a standard question. How has life changed for you since being on the Country Hipster Podcast?
Okay, you just said 33 some odd episodes ago, which was whenever that was. Like I said, seems
July.
Okay, all right. So, pretty much business as usual. Working hard, not getting paid enough.
Okay.
All the good shit.
So since you we're on obviously an award-winning podcast such as the Country Hipster Podcast. Does your wife and children now bow to you whenever you come into the room?
I mean, that was customary before.
Okay.
I do like the addition of Your Highness. That's been nice.
Oh, that's been nice.
Yeah, that's been really nice.
Nice.
Once you get the recognition, the Spotify folks, the YouTube folks.
Yes, it happens. It's great. That's great. So, and the most important question, since being on the Country Hipster Podcast, have people stopped asking you if you're that guy from Super Troopers?
No, I guess that would be which guy is that? Foster?
Foster, yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I must have some sort of recognizable look to me because the 20 years I've been working for the phone company, I have customers. I can't go a week and a half, 2 weeks without somebody. You look familiar, even if it's just that. You look familiar. Right. For a long time when they were doing well, it was Phillies. Who was it? Roy Halladay.
Oh, Roy Halladay. Oh, I can see that.
And then Carson Wentz at his little when he had his short time.
Yeah, not as much though. No, not as much. No.
Nick, I always get at work. I when I meet random people who I've never met before, higher up people. They're like, "You look familiar," and I'm like, yeah. I just have a generic white guy. I'm a generic white guy with a long beard.
That's what I've started saying to people. I'm just I think I just have a very familiar look about me. I said I just get it all. I get it too often for it not to be anything. Hey, quick question.
Yes.
Has Adam ever been hatless? I try to keep up with the episodes, but
actually, I don't know if you've ever been
hatless on an episode.
There's been a couple.
Okay.
Oh, really?
I think it's been at least two where
It's a rarity
I
for
think
sure.
I got
Yeah,
my
that's a
hair
good
cut
question.
like
It's a
the day
rarity for
before
sure.
when I decided to like actually do my hair. I actually did get my hair cut yesterday, but I'm going hatless. It looks fucking.
Let it fly. Let your freak flag fly.
It looks good right now.
It's a
It's
little
like
weird.
this is like my cockatoo look.
Okay.
Yep.
It's
how I
almost like
attract
Jimmy
females.
Neutron like.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because one day at work, I took my hat off and I just kind of like did that with my hair, and this one dude walks up to me. He's like, "You look like Jimmy Neutron." So I had my number hanging up in receiving, so like I was the new guy. So this like, if you need to get a hold of me, here's my number.
Yeah.
So the dude printed out a picture of Jimmy Neutron, drew a shitty beard on it, and then taped it on the thing that had my phone number on it.
Okay. And everybody knows it's you.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's actually
Fair
pretty awesome. So real quick, two things before we get to the factoids. We have to actually say a very happy birthday to our producer, engineer, director, editor, Jack, who is actually turning 24. We're recording Sunday. He'll be 24 on Tuesday. This comes out on Thursday, so his birthday will already be passed. But happy birthday,
Happy
Jack.
birthday, Jack.
Happy birthday,
Yeah,
Jack.
cheers.
So, and also new to the Country Hipster podcast is that we are now a drinking game. So
Are we?
we are. We talked about this briefly. So here's what happened. Okay, so
So every time you can't hear what I'm saying, you take a drink.
no, because people would be like
be on the floor.
Exactly, they would like die of like
alcohol
what's it called when like you drink too much water and like you know what I mean, like you can drink too much water and that'll kill you. Water toxicity.
It's called drowning.
Or drowning. There you go. People will drown if they can't hear you. But so a few weeks back, the last time you were on Skype, I think it was the Day Shit episode when we did the White Stripes. You saw Modest the Mouse climb up the wall behind us.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about this.
Yes. So unbeknownst to me, I got a message from one of our viewers and listeners through social media. Jen messaged me and said, "Hey, the mouse is back on this episode." I was like, "What the where?" And so she told me like around where it was, and I looked, and at the like 8-minute and 29-second mark of last week's episode, you could see Modest the Mouse running up the wall in the same, like, actually he was coming down this time. He's coming down. So here's gonna be the deal with the drinking game. So, and you're gonna have to go back, I think, and like watch episodes or listen to other episodes. And this kind of sucks for the people who don't watch the episodes or just listen to them. So if you just listen, then it's going to be kind of hard for you to play the drinking game. So you should watch us on YouTube, or you can watch us on Spotify as well. But excuse me. So here's the preliminary rules. Is that if you see the mouse behind us at any point, you have to chug your whole entire drink, whatever it is, and however much you have left. If we ever make reference to an animal, because I know, like, and I think it was the disintegration episode, like, Krista looked over, she's like, "I think I just saw a mouse go across the wall over there," but it was like off camera. So then that would just be a shot. So there you go. So anytime the critters, any sort of animal or critter, make an appearance, and I think that's got to go for bugs too, because sometimes we get little bugs flying around, so that would be another reason to do a shot. But Modest the Mouse, when Modest the Mouse jumps up behind, you got to chug.
But if you or I,
There's been a few episodes like that where I've been swatting it, but there's a fly.
Yep. Now,
if you or I catch it
yes,
while we're shooting,
then we got to chug.
Yeah.
So if we actually see it, like when we're here, we're like, "Fuck, there's the mouse."
does it count if we see it?
Yeah, no, that
Okay,
totally
all
counts.
right.
That totally counts. So we
Okay.
might have to like
I
watch.
said if you guys catch the fly, then the fly has to chug.
There you go.
Fair enough.
There you go. So
Put in the rule books.
that actually reminds me. I'm joking. It's actually pretty funny since we're getting to March and almost St. Patrick's Day, and I'm drinking a Murphy's Irish Stout here. So there's this Irishman walks into a bar and orders a pint, and a fly drops into his pint, and the bartender's like, "No, I'll get you another one." He's like, "No," and he pulls the fly up and he starts, spit it out. Yeah, so there you go.
I saw a thing earlier that made me think of you, Paul. Guy walks into a bar in Ireland and says, "I'll give $500 to anybody who can drink 20 pints of Guinness in a row." And no one's talking. Everyone kind of shuts up. One guy leaves the bar. comes back. Same guy comes back about 15 minutes later. He's like, all right, I'll take your bet. You still offering? He's like, yeah. Bartender pours out 20 pints of Guinness. Dude sits down, throws them all back in a row. Guy gives him the $500. He's like, where'd you go for that 10 minutes? He's like, oh, I had to go to the bar up the street to make sure I could actually do
it. So, as an Irishman, are Irish people, generally speaking, the least offended by the stereotypes surrounding their heritage or their culture?
It depends. Not really. It all depends on which sect of the Irish community you're getting into. Now, if you go out on St. Patrick's Day,
sure,
no one gives a fuck.
Right.
No one gives a fuck. It's all like what we in Irish bands like to call the plastic patties, because they put on their plastic hats. You know what I mean? They're all wearing green and instant Irish beer, shit like that. You know what I mean? Or so obviously on St. Patrick's Day, nobody's fucking offended about anything, because they don't really know much about the Irish culture. But if you go into an Ancient Order of Hibernians or some sort of Irish cultural society, they're actually very aware of what's going on, like to the point where there's been some shirts that Target has pulled out, or Walmart's put out, or even Urban Outfitters has put out around March, and they've protested. They've got them to remove those shirts
because
and
of
those
the
things
stereotypes.
because of the stereotypes.
Okay, fair
and,
enough.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, one of the big things to go around, especially as we're going into March, to keep in mind that when you say St. Patty's Day, it's Paddy, not Patty, because Patty is Patricia.
Right, female. Padre.
Female, exactly. So, Patrick, would be Paddy. So that's something to keep in mind. And I always find it funny when you see the Irish bars advertising their St. Patty's Day shit and they're doing TTY. It's like, okay, just because you threw a fucking shamrock on a bar doesn't make you an Irish fucking bar. You don't know actually anything about it. Sure. So, but yeah, so there you go. So that does happen. Katai, shut up. You're distracting him.
As long as they don't have tattoos on.
She's making reference to the time you played that bar in Delco and almost got your ass kicked by a bunch of elderly tap dancers.
Oh, yeah, no, fuck them. Fuck them. Yeah, man, that was horrible.
That'll be its own episode.
No,
right?
no, man, I was like J.D. McGillicuddy's played, and they're like,
worry about the female or the male.
What?
You're being sexist.
She said it's sexist to worry about the female or the male, but if when Irish bars use the female, they're just letting them know it's cool for the ladies. It's ladies' night that night.
It's not though. It's St. Patrick's Day, and St. Patrick was a dude. He was an Italian dude, but he was a dude, so it's not.
Are you assuming his gender?
Yes, I am, because he was a fucking archbishop. So, he didn't believe in different genders. He was a fucking Catholic dude, and he was a dude. So it's Paddy. So don't give me that. I'm being sexist. There's two different things. The women have. There is a St. Patty. There is actually.
Don't think it's so hard.
There is actually a St. Patricia's Day, which is in August. So
who's St. Patricia?
I don't fucking
know.
know.
What does she do?
I don't know. There's so many saints. Everybody's a fucking saint.
Am I a saint?
No. So, all right. So Adam, factoids. Let's hear them.
All right, we are covering Jimi Hendrix Experience, Axis Bold as Love. It's one of my albums. Album was released on December 1st, 1967 in the UK, which is about 7 months after Are You Experience was released.
And it's a different country than the US.
Yes.
Thank
you. In the UK, it was released in 1967 on Track Records. In the US, it was released by Reprise Records in January of 68. They held it back a month, I guess, to put a little bit more distance between this and Are You Experienced.
Right.
Was recorded at Olympic Studio in London. Produced by Chaz Chandler, who is famous for being the original bassist for the Animals.
Okay.
The album peaked at number 5 in the UK. Peaked at number 3 in the States. And something I found really interesting is that it peaked at number 6 on the US R&B charts.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Back then, that was
it's just when I think Jimi Hendrix Experience, I don't think, oh yeah, that charted on.
I think at that time that would have been at least given consideration for R&B.
My connotation of rhythm of R&B is like,
oh yeah, I know, yeah,
is the modern day R&B. Platinum in the States, gold in the UK, This album has been described as the least memorable of the Jimi Hendrix Experience's 3 studio releases.
Didn't see
In 2000, it was listed as number 147 on Colin Larkin's all-time top 1,000 albums. In 2020, it was included on the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time as number 92. And it was number 1 on the 2013 list from Rolling Stones of the top 40 stoner albums of all time.
Nice.
Also included in the book 1001 albums you must listen. 1001 albums you must hear before you die.
Yes.
Not having a good fucking day.
Easy for you to say.
Right? I need to get that book too, by the way.
It's
So imagine having 3 records, and the least memorable of which is still in the top 100 records of all time.
Absolutely.
Like just to give an idea, like this is their least memorable record, still top 100 all time. Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
So I picked this album. I was actually saying to Katai before we jumped on Skype. We talked about On Blonde. The reason I own Blonde on Blonde is because in High Fidelity, Jack Black is shopping for somebody. Jack Black, who is a star of High Fidelity, Paul.
Oh, was he in High Fidelity?
Yeah.
Do you think all of our family members know that Jack Black was in High Fidelity?
I'm not 100% sure all of our family members are
I don't
aware,
think
but
so.
we
No,
we should double check with them.
I know Michael knows. You know, I know. I'm pretty sure Kylie
I'm sure
knows.
even Brian knows.
Brian, yeah, Brian, yeah, there you go, Brian. So he knows too. But which of our brothers doesn't get mentioned? Oh, Zach. Zach does not know that Jack Black.
Zach might not know 100% that Jack Black is in fact the star of the movie High Fidelity.
High Fidelity, yes.
But yeah. So I said when we did the Blonde on Blonde episode, I own Blonde on Blonde because Jack Black was shopping for a guy in High Fidelity, and he's like, "Don't fucking tell anybody that you don't fucking own Blonde on Blonde."
Right.
I own Axis Bold as Love is because in the movie School of Rock, Jack Black is assigning homework to all of the kids in the class, and he gives the kid who plays guitar Axis Bold as Love to listen to.
Okay.
So I've basically established things I enjoy in music and then taken the albums that I listen to based on what Jack Black recommends in movies.
That's not such a bad thing. I mean,
2 for 2 as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Jack Black's a pretty gifted guitar player.
So this album is on my 25. And I can't remember what album. Oh, it was Beastie Boys.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Listening to Check Your Head by Beastie Boys makes me upset because it's not Licensed to Ill. Listening to Axis Bold as Love makes me upset because it's not Are You Experienced.
Okay.
I love this album. Don't get me wrong, I love this album. It's a really good album. As they said, it was included on the number 1 on the 40 best stoner albums of all time. I'm not one that partakes, but I mean, I could see, sitting back with a couple beers and just chilling through this album. I really love this album, but if I owned Are You Experienced would have been on my 25 instead of this.
Okay. All right.
It's like kind of like the Decemberists, where I said, I own Her Majesty, but if I owned Crane Wife would taken over Her Majesty hands down.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I love this album. Like when growing up, I started playing guitar. Seriously playing guitar in my freshman year of high school. So I've just always kind of, as growing up, playing guitar and listening to, the greats. Hendrix is arguably one of the best guitar players of all time.
It's funny. Okay, so I'll jump ahead a little bit. Not that we're jumping segments, but I actually have there that Hendrix is probably one of the greatest guitarists ever. Top 5 in my opinion.
In the conversation. In the conversation, no matter what.
And I'll even just jump into it real quick. So in no particular order, my Mount Rushmore of guitarists are Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, and B.B. King.
Yeah, I mean, that's a solid.
That's a solid fucking mountain.
Well, I mean, it is literally a mountain that you have to carve into and blow up to make these faces on there. So yes, it's pretty fucking solid.
Yep. Solid as a
But
rock.
yeah, no, those would be. And again, it's all subjective, right? It's all.
Of course,
it's
everybody's
always
gonna have their
subjective.
top 5.
And you have your your top 5 jazz guitars, your top 5
of
metal
course.
guitars. You know what I mean?
But no matter what the list,
Exactly.
Jimmy's there.
Jimmy's
on
there.
the list, no
yep,
matter what
absolutely.
list you're talking about.
You know, you could easily throw Prince on there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
There's certain
like,
guys that just belong on any list. If you're going to
Yes.
start talking top whatever guitars,
yes,
I mean, it's,
Jimi
these
Hendrix
guys
is fucking
belong.
there.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So, but I'm sorry, I jumped ahead.
No, like so like yeah, and like and it's like I said, this album like it doesn't like, and when I said like this, I would have Are You Experienced on my list over Axis Holder's Love as if I owned it. This album doesn't have, like, in my opinion, like the star power, if you will, that Are You Experienced has behind it. Like, don't get me wrong, like, this album's great, but like it definitely has that like classic Hendrix sound to it, but it's just not the hits that you go to when you mention Jimi Hendrix.
It's funny you say that, and I agree with what you're saying 100%. I was actually thinking about it on the way up here. I think for me anyway, and you tell me if this was similar for you, I think the reason I think of it that way, the star power if you will, is because a lot of the songs on Are You Experienced, at least for me, were on the greatest hits albums that I owned as a kid. I felt like when I heard the stuff that I loved from Axis, I feel like that became, for me, having already been familiar with Are You Experienced, this stuff became like deep cuts for me. Like, oh, this is the stuff that the radio's not playing, but I really like this. You know what I mean? These songs on here were like, they were deeper cuts for me. I don't know like where that puts them like as better or worse, but I feel like that's how I feel about Are You Experienced as well. Like it's
so like you motherfuckers somehow got a hold of my notes before the second podcast, because like what I have here, like once again, yes, Are You Experienced is probably my favorite Hendrix album, but I still like this album. But like this album to me, when listening to this album again over the last week, this is what I would call Jimi Hendrix artistic album. Like there's no, it's not a poppy hit. It's artistic. There's more depth to the music. There's more to the style. He mixes genres that he has rock, R&B, blues, even has some fucking freeform jazz on there, as well as psychedelia. It's all represented on this album, and it all works. Whereas like Are You Experienced, in comparison, that's a hit. That's a fucking hit machine.
Pop.
It's a hit machine, and it's a great album. And it, like I said,
and
it
that's
also
why
is.
You hear those stuff on the radio. That's
absolutely.
that's why they played that stuff on the radio.
Yeah, no.
It's very much like we're having a party. Let's throw in Are You Experienced.
It's a winner every time.
We're sitting at home, relaxing, and let's throw in Axis.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been really nice listening to this again. Like I said, it's been a while since I've dusted it off and really gave it a listen. Yeah, and it's been a treat.
Can I tell you guys something? I probably listen to usually I'll listen to the album that we're going to cover the following week on my way home from Paul's, and then that's my start, and I'll just listen to it all week. I listened to about half of it on the way home from Paul's last week until I realized that I had it on random, and it bummed me out because I like to do it as nature intended all the way through first. So I turned it off, and then this week I got very, very into the Two Bears, One Cave podcast with Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer.
Okay.
So I Tuesday, Wednesday, I didn't listen to this album at all. I was just listening to that podcast.
It happens, yeah.
So I feel like I almost felt like I felt like a shitty employee. Like I feel like I was doing a bad job at the podcast because I was like, oh fuck, man, I'm neglecting what I'm supposed to be listening to.
Well,
Paul's sitting here going, well, you said it. I mean,
I know. It's like you said it. You didn't come into the office today. You're like, oh, I got to work remote today.
Employee. That was your words, not mine.
We have been there gladly. Do you want me to infect that sweet baby angel?
We have one meeting a week where it's mandatory that you're in the office, and you missed it.
Listen.
How much PTO does he give you, by the way? We need to talk about this.
Most meetings can be an email. So
Do you need representation? We can
Yes.
get you a union card. dude.
Exactly. No, not only could like all of our like meetings probably be emails, our podcast could also probably only be about a half hour long.
Yeah.
But sometimes we do like 3-hour podcasts. So
Well, we're alcoholics. So we ramble.
yes. Which, speaking of alcoholics, I am drinking a Lone Star beer, and I got to tell you,
It's very nice.
It's-
I've never had one.
Oh
and
my
it's-
God.
It's delicious.
this
Yeah, very good.
I have to fucking tip my hat to fucking True Detectives for turning me on to Lone Star beer.
Has this been around?
It has. It's been around for a while. So the way that I
You
came
should
across
tip your
it.
hat to True Detectives for turning you on to Alexandria, however you pronounce her last name.
Yeah, well, that too. But but I knew about her before seeing True
This
Detectives.
is a very good, very easy drink.
Yes, because I actually did not see
Tastes
True
great.
Detectives until about 3 months ago, whatever it was. So me and Katie started watching it, and they were drinking the Lone Star beer constantly. And she's like, "That looks like a shitty beer. You should get that for the podcast." I was like, "All right." So now I'm just like into it. And now we're like, we skipped season 2, we watched season 3, so now season 4 we're in the middle of, and so far it's fucking good. And they're drinking Lone Star and that all the way up in Alaska. So it's
You
great.
guys got anything brewing at the moment?
Nothing not
Nothing
brewing
doing-
anything
nothing
right
going?
now.
Okay.
Nope. We had that debacle of the Black and Tan, so we're like, So-
Nick, you drinking anything?
Yeah, Lone Star. I'm joining. I'm joining the party. It's delicious.
Yeah, man.
I'm
Yeah,
loving it.
I have Nature's Medicine. I got the.
The PBR.
Ah, the PBR.
Yep.
So
No matter how shitty I'm feeling, I can always walk home with the blue ribbon, baby.
Absolutely.
You can. Yeah, you can.
This past weekend, I was at the Poconos with my buddies. We try to do it every year,
Uh-huh.
and every year I'm reminded how much less and less I can actually drink.
Yes.
Without feeling horrific the next day.
Yep.
So
It's 'cause you're getting old, man.
And I can't drink like heavy beers like IPAs anymore. So I grabbed a case of Coors Banquet because why not? I'll drink that all weekend, no
Okay.
problem.
Yep.
The first night we're up there, I put away. This is so sad. Probably like 9 of them in like 2 hours or so, 2.5 hours. I felt like complete shit. I did not drink. I did not touch a beer the rest of the weekend. Honest to God, I had a great time, but
Yeah.
I just like I'm not doing that to myself again. Like I'm here to relax. Like I don't have kids for the weekend. Like
Yep.
yeah, just trying to kick it. Like I'm not trying to have a headache the entire weekend.
Well, that's like when I went to Chicago, man. We got into Chicago at like, we took like some stupid fucking early flight into Chicago, and we get in there, and so we're in Chicago by like 8 a.m.
Sure.
and we just went to brunch and just fucking kept drinking the entire day, to the point where the next morning I almost didn't go to, like, we went out
It's
there to see
amazing while it's happening.
Yeah, I know.
It's the same old feeling as you're used to. It's
Yeah.
just afterwards.
But
It's
like
just
we
terrible.
were going out to see the Phillies play the Cubs at Wrigley. What's up,
Hey.
kid? How you doing?
Sorry, she interjected herself in because she had to come out to tell us that her chocolate milk was done.
Well, that's probably good. It's-
Somebody top me off here.
yeah, right.
What's going on?
Like, what the fuck? Where's my chocolate milk?
Nick, real quick,
Yeah.
just random off the topic question.
All right.
Where did you grow up?
Northeast Philly, Parkwood,
Northeast Philly?
Parkwood Manor. Still live there now.
My girlfriend's sitting off to the side going, that dude's got a cool accent. I like that guy's accent. Where's he from?
Northeast Philly. Yeah, we're just this side of Delco as far as the accent goes.
It's funny because she's texting Nick now. I want to fuck you.
In all fairness, I'm texting Nick right now. I don't know what
I'm in high demand.
Yes.
Me, Adam.
I'm texting from her phone. I'm gonna lower
I'll deny all of it, by the way. Both parties. Just letting you know.
It is no. There was no texting to Nick right now. It's all good.
The record itself, Paul and I were talking about the top loading gatefold and how
I was talking about how it annoys the shit out
Yep.
of me.
First thing I said, I took the record off the shelf when I got here. I looked at it, I was like, does this drive you nuts or is it just me? No, it drives me crazy, yeah.
It's always annoyed me to no end.
Completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary.
It looks good though.
It looks good, but
Especially
it's
on
always annoyed
display
me that
behind
the
us,
album-
which is a
the
little
artwork
washed out,
faces
but-
one way and the album comes out the wrong
Right.
way of how it's on the shelf. So
There's no practical use for that style
No,
at all.
except for to display it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So
although I do like, Paul, if you grab it real quick. When you,
that was a little
when you
forward.
unfold,
You're taking you to
the
dinner
front
first.
and back just make one giant fucking picture.
oh yeah, when you drop it down like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
like the Grateful Dead's Grateful Dead. You get
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
long ways. Yeah, there you go. Why not? Get it in there.
All right. Fuck that. All right. So, as I'm away from the mic, Nick. How, like, what are your feelings on this album?
So it's a great record. Obviously, you know, anything Jimi experience, you know, and again, going back to our experience, that was, you know, my introduction. And again, these songs that I fell in love with on here, like Little Wing, and you know, they became like, I was cool. Like I felt like I was cool for listening to that Jimi and not Foxy Lady and Purple Haze and all that. But nevertheless, yeah, I think this is just a terrific record. Like, you know, start to finish, you can listen to this thing, and it's just all time. You know, psych rock.
So what I enjoyed about it this week is like, because like I said, like Are You Experience has always been my favorite Hendrix album, and it probably still is. And I listened to the fuck out of Are You Experienced. But like I never, like I've heard this album before, but I never really delved into this album. It's just kind of like,
it's
okay,
not the
cool.
one you go back to,
right? And but like listening to it this week, I'm like, yeah, this really is a
record.
really great fucking record, and you know, and it makes me think like I'm not a big fan of, or I think I'm not a big fan of Electric Ladyland. And I'm thinking, like, do I need to now go back and listen to Electric Ladyland?
You're talking about three, in their own regards. You're talking about three legendary rock and roll records.
Yep, absolutely.
No matter how you slice it,
Yep.
you know. But now we're pushing them under the same umbrella, which is the best of Jimi stuff. But I think it's all worth listening to. I think it's one of those things where Are You Experience was so good, and it got so much, you know, and you know, rightly so, it got so much exposure, that these two were, you know, I just don't think, as Adam put it earlier, they had the star power. But as far as music goes, I mean, this is just a phenomenal
amazing
record.
So let me ask you this: what do you think of this? And Adam, I don't know if you're aware of this stuff. How do you feel about, because the Hendrix family is still finding Jimi Hendrix stuff,
right?
But what they're finding is parts of songs or demos and stuff like that. And I know there was one album, excuse me, a few years back, I can't remember what it was called,
I know
that
the
they
one
put
you're
out
talking about,
where they had other people finish his songs. And like, to me, I'm like, I don't know. Like, there's a reason he didn't finish it. Like, I kind of feel like that's like saying like fucking, you know, like Michelangelo didn't finish a painting, so we're just gonna let this other fucking dude.
Well, and here's the thing, okay? Basically, this past year we got that, what was basically an AI Beatles song, you know what I mean? Yeah. Which again, okay, on its surface, like, hey, here's some John Lennon stuff that nobody's ever heard, and this was its intention. Let's see what we can come up with. And it's like, okay, was it fun to hear? Yes, but I think in those situations, like, just give me a demos record and let me listen to what the raw stuff that's on there. You know.
Yeah, but that does seem to be the thing, like with the Hendrix family, is that they keep finding stuff and they keep putting more and more stuff out. Which is like,
if you're gonna put it out in demo form, fine.
Yes.
I don't think you should be finishing somebody else's work.
Okay.
Honestly,
I feel the same way. Adam, are you even aware of that? Are you even paying attention? Do you have any idea what we just said?
No,
you're not even paying attention. Goddamn you!
Like literally, the Alexa that's right next to me just fucking started teaching me how to make apple pie for some fucking reason. Roasted apple pie. She's fucking bored.
Text me that recipe, will you?
Yeah. Can you share that with the rest
Love
of
a
the
good
cast?
apple pie.
There's some delicious looking like oatmeal-esque cookies on there that this fucking cowboy cookies apparently is what they're called.
Cowboy cookies?
Katai's Alexa is just a fucking asshole.
Okay.
I will ask Katai's Alexa to play a song, and it's like, oh, I've never heard that. But here's other songs by that band, and it'll play the fucking song I asked for.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
I think it has to do with the Philadelphia accent.
Probably.
You know?
Well, I've learned through texting through my car that Siri doesn't understand my fucking accent half the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's my brother. No, we do not live in Delco and fuck our brothers, Katai. I heard that.
So
people fuck their brothers in Delco? Is that a thing?
That's what they do down there.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, well, she's asking me if I'm hitting on you.
So, because both of you guys, Paul, I guess of the three of us, you play obviously the most guitar because you do it all the time professionally.
Poorly.
But no, so I've been playing guitar for as long as, you know, I was probably 12 or 13, but I've never gotten any good at it. So it just kind of sits there and collects dust, like most people who have a guitar. But Jimi, so going back to when I was a kid, a buddy of mine in grade school and high school, we were all kind of picking up guitars at the same time. He was left-handed.
Yeah.
Could not get a left-handed guitar, couldn't afford one, whatever the case was. He fucking turned a right-handed electric guitar on its side,
strung it upside
and
down,
played way better than fucking I could
Oh, yeah.
ever dream. Like this
Yep.
dude just tore it up.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep, fucking, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
you know?
So to know that, again, this guy became a virtuoso, or was a virtuoso, and that's how he was playing guitar. Is pretty incredible.
Can we talk about real quick how I've always found it really shitty that like left-handed guitars aren't that much more expensive than a right-handed guitar.
Probably not these days, yeah.
But they're still more expensive than a right-handed guitar.
Supply and demand.
Because it can be.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and it is stupid, but that's like a lot of things in this world.
Today's,
It's just,
Left-handed
today's,
engine's
like,
gonna cost you. Golf
today's
clubs.
everything is offensive culture. It's amazing that no one's been like, that's Fender is canceled because a left-handed Strat is more expensive than a right-handed Strat.
I mean, it's no different than like, when you go to fucking, like a mainstream food store like fucking Giant, and you buy like fucking Kraft mac and cheese for $3, and then you go to fucking Aldi and you pay 39 cents.
Right.
It's the same fucking thing. It's literally the same fucking thing. Kraft makes the stuff at Aldi, and it's like 35 cents. So it's the same thing. It's just like, what are people willing to pay for? You know what I mean? They, the fact that it's left-handed, like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking pay for it. So
Well, you need to quit your bitching, turn the right-handed guitar on its side,
Exactly.
and become Jimi Hendrix. I mean, what's the
Exactly.
problem? He
Yeah.
did it.
I mean, I feel like that's been the move. McCartney, I've seen a lot of McCartney get to like play shit that's strung backwards. I've seen, and probably most notably, at least for people of my age, probably of your guys' age as well, I've seen a lot of
Two very
shit of
different
Kurt
ages, by the way.
Cobain playing shit strung backwards as well.
wait, what's that?
Kurt Cobain.
Oh, Cobain, yeah.
Well, his chord structures in general were very weird.
Yeah.
The way his songs, like some of his songs, if you look at them, are very odd chord structures.
Yeah, I could see that. Yep.
I know a guy. So he's right. He writes right-handed. I played hockey with him. So he writes right-handed. He plays hockey and golf left-handed.
I knew a lot of guys like that in hockey.
He bats right-handed, and I was actually teaching guitar for a little bit, and he played guitar right-handed.
Okay.
And I told him, I'm like, look, you're kind of all over the place. You can either spend a little bit more and get a left-handed guitar, or just buy a right hand and string it backwards. And he didn't even waste the time, and he just strung a right hand the way a right-handed guitar should be strung, and played right-handed.
Yep.
Well, so here's the funny thing is that to that point, Chase Utley, former Philly and Los Angeles Dodger, is right-handed, throws right-handed, writes right-handed, does everything right-handed, bats left-handed. Reason being was when he was a kid, he said the reason he started like batting left-handed was because he started like he could bat right-handed. And his dad got sick of having to chase the balls because he kept knocking the balls, like fucking kept hitting like the ball like super fun. So his dad's like, no, bat left-handed, so I don't have to fucking run after this ball anymore. So
He just got really good at doing it
and
left-handed,
then he got
too.
really good at batting
No.
left-handed too.
Go figure.
I don't play baseball. I don't follow baseball, but I feel like isn't it something with left-handed pitchers or left-handed batters? Like one of them is harder.
Well, it depends
They
on
try
which...
to match them up left against the,
Yeah, because here's the thing. So, like, I've, growing up playing Little League and whatnot, I'm right-handed. Most of the pitchers we faced were right-handed. And I remember every now and then, like, once a season, you'd come up and there'd be a kid who'd be, like, left-handed. Be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It's a whole different dimension of, like, it comes off, like, the different side. You're used to something. It fucks you up. It really does. Like, if you're not used to seeing, like, a left-handed pitcher to a right-handed batter. I don't know so much if it's as much of a difference for left-handed batters to right-handed pitchers, but definitely as a right-handed batter seeing a left-handed pitcher, it's like a whole different. They're not throwing anything necessarily different than the right-handed pitcher, especially in fucking Little League.
Right.
But it's just coming from the other side.
Different
You're not
body
used to it.
mechanics.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, so
absolutely.
you're not used to it.
And on the topic of left and right-handed, I forget. I can't remember if it might be a Hendrix specific model or something. Fender makes a guitar that it's a Strat, but and I've seen it because I've looked it up because I am a right-handed guitar player. I've looked it up. It's a right-handed guitar, but the neck is basically the neck looks as if it's left.
Oh yeah, I turned it upside down.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
the headstock is upside down as Hendrix would have been playing.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That always kind of bugged me. It was always just like, it's kind of gimmicky.
Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely, and that's the whole point. But I mean, Fender's a business trying to fucking make money.
These headless electric guitars people are playing, like they're completely.
Oh, is that coming back? Is that back?
I saw somebody playing one a couple weeks ago on YouTube, like brand new, like just like sheared off at the head.
Yeah, because all
it
you
tunes
do,
from the
tuning
bottom.
down
Yeah,
the bottom.
but it's still kind of weird looking.
They tried to make that like a big
big
deal in the '80s.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it never really
very
took off.
new wave.
Yes, because it's got like a
guitar.
Yes,
okay.
exactly. So that was supposed to be a thing, and you tune it from the bottom, and it's like it looks cool if like you're like fucking
Devo.
You know exactly.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But
exactly.
otherwise, like it doesn't make a difference to me. You know. So it's funny, actually not funny, but it was cool. I got one of the times I visited my kids in Seattle or like in Washington. They lived in Tacoma or live in Tacoma. We went over to Seattle and they have this museum like right by the Space Needle. It's basically it changes names all the time, but basically it's the Pop Culture Museum.
Very cool.
And Jimi Hendrix being from Tacoma, Washington.
I was going to say he's from that area.
Yes.
So I was about to chime in, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
They had a special display of like all of all about Jimi Hendrix in the Pop Culture Museum in the music section, and it was cool, man. Like walking through and just seeing like the outfits he was wearing. Like they had this napkin where he like I think it was Castles in the Sand. He was writing the lyrics. It was like a fucking Delta Airlines fucking napkin that he wrote the lyrics on, and it was just cool, like seeing all this stuff and like seeing his guitars and just be like I am a pane of glass away from greatness.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It was just it was pretty cool. It was one of those things where I really enjoyed that display, and it was great. It was awesome.
It's one of these guys, and obviously they exist in music that was dead almost before he knew how great he was or how famous.
Go on. But I was going to say that's a great transition.
When I was writing on my factoids, this album came out in '67 in the UK, '68 in the States. Hendrix was dead in '70.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hendrix is a member of the 27 Club.
Yep.
Which is a weird phenomenon that is interesting, I guess, to look into.
It is.
But it makes me feel so shitty that like he died 3 years before this album was made, or he died 3 years before this album came out. After this album came out.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would have been kind of.
When he was 24.
It's Tupac stuff.
All I did at 24 was get married, and that ended in divorce.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
like,
well, you know,
this guy got stuff accomplished, right?
It just shows
like, he got shit done.
you're not special.
Yeah.
Whereas Hendrix was. Yeah. So,
I'm not ready. I'm not experienced.
there you're not. You're not. There you go. So, but okay. So it's funny and it's perfect fucking transition because one of the things I have here is like, so I always see these like memes, like the dead people memes, right?
Yep.
Where they show the thing where it says like, who would you bring back for one concert?
One show.
And it'll have like
all the time.
It'll have Hendrix. It'll have Prince,
Petty.
I mean, Kurt Cobain. It has Freddie Mercury on there. Like all these people, like one I saw today had like Beethoven on it or whatever. But like all these people, and every single time I see those, it's Hendrix. If I could bring fucking Hendrix back, if any musician, live or dead or like whatever,
he's always in my top like 3 when I narrow it down of who I would bring back.
I would absolutely like love to be like, boom, there you go. Here's my ticket to fucking Hendrix and just watch him. Like, even if it wasn't a concert, just to be in a room with him, in the fucking, like a fly on the fucking wall, and just watch him fucking around on like the guitar, man.
Just riffing, fucking around. Like,
I don't mean to step on toes. So I hope I'm not. If I am, just tell me. But you know whose band he played in, right? Before he was famous?
I forget. No.
Little Richard.
Oh, that's right.
He was in
right.
Little
yes.
Richard's rhythm section.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
He played on a few singles of Little Richard way back in the day, and to think that he was
I know,
doing rhythm stuff.
It's crazy. And then like like the other stuff that he's done too. Like there's an album out there. I forget what I think it's one. I think it's called No One Gets Out of Here Alive, but I could be wrong. And it's a live album, and Hendrix is on guitar.
Okay.
Jim Morrison is singing.
Jesus.
I forget who the other musicians are.
unaware.
I really wish I had looked this up.
Yeah, no, I was unaware.
But it's recorded live album, and it's like all these. It's like kind of like a super group of like a one night, and it's absolutely amazing. But I think that's what it's called. I think it's called "No One Gets Out of Here Alive" or "Everyone Gets Out of Here Alive." Something
how
like that.
apropos the name with Hendrix and Morrison.
Yeah. But it is and it is fucking amazing. And I think some of it they were like literally just like improving the songs too. Like and which is and I fucking should have wrote it down.
I mean, as far as improv might be, the singing might be the hardest part of all that. And who better than
Jim
Morrison to improv, you know what I mean, when singing. So that was a great combo.
Yep. And then like there's a song on here and I wish I fucking wrote it down. I can't remember the name of the song. But like so I'll do this thing when I'm playing, right? If I'm trying to think of like what my next song is and I'm gonna play or whatever, I just got kind of like a little rhythm pattern that I go, just kind of I'm thinking about other stuff, but I'm on stage, so I'm hitting. It's usually just like a G D G or something. Yeah, and then I'll be like, okay, here's what I'm gonna play. And there's a song on here where that's how it starts. Is like guitar that I'm pretty sure is just him being like,
and then
all right, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah. And then all of a sudden this song comes.
Do you not write a little set list for yourself when you play or no?
No, not usually. Cool. Yeah, no, nice. Not when I'm playing by myself. And even band shows, it depends on the level of the band show that we're doing.
I think
whether
cool.
or not I do a set list.
Yeah.
But no, and that's what, and I fucking wish I wrote it down. But like this,
I gotta
song,
know,
and he's sitting there and he's just playing and he's just doing this stuff. And this stuff, like I'm hearing it, I'm like listening to it, like just the other day in the car, and I'm like, this is him just thinking about something else, and he's playing a million times better than I ever could with something he's just diddling around with, and that's fucking what makes him just so, in my opinion, just fucking so amazing, and is definitely on, like I said, my Mount Rushmore of guitar players of all time. Guitar
hard
players.
Not to have him up there.
I'd even put him, because I put this two different ways, and some people don't. I put him also. I don't know if I'd put him top 5, but definitely top 10 of also all-time great songwriters.
Yeah.
So I separate the two, because you can have someone who's a great guitar player but isn't necessarily a great songwriter.
And again, I didn't deep dive the band or anything, but I never did. So was Hendrix? Did he write everything for the experience?
I think he wrote the
Noel
vast
Redding
majority
and Mitchell didn't have any writing credits or anything.
I think they have some writing credits.
There's one song on the album. If you give me 3 seconds, I will tell you which one it was.
It's 2
seconds. But more or less,
he's
the one writing all the music. So if that's the case, then absolutely, I think he's got to be talked about.
Absolutely, and like another one, like if you're getting into. Like I said, so I mentioned Prince about possibly being a top guitar player. I don't necessarily think Prince is in the top 5. Prince is definitely in the top 5 of songwriters, though. Especially when you look at his overall and the stuff he's written that other people have done. I would put Pete Townsend as one of the top songwriters of all time. Sure. But he's not one of the top guitar players of all time. You know what I mean? So like there's kind of thing. Saying. Whereas Hendrix would be a top guitar player at a top songwriter.
Ultimately what we're saying with all of this, a lot of things when you try to make these lists are incredibly subjective.
Well, yes.
I would argue that Jimi Hendrix being on those lists is objective. Like he's objectively belongs on every one of those lists.
Absolutely.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? We talked about this. Zach and I talked about this on Summer Movie Club. You read lists of like the best movies of all time.
Doesn't know that Jack Black exists.
Is always number 1 on like the greatest movie ever fucking made of all time.
What movie? Citizen Kane.
So yeah. And it annoys the shit out of me. Like I feel like in certain situations, like Citizen Kane. I've never seen Citizen Kane. I've heard it's it's always listed as number 1.
Right.
I've heard from people whose opinion I respect on movies that it's it's whatever. I feel like at a certain point, like, does Jimi Hendrix fall into that category of like? Does fall into this category of like? Yes, he's a great guitar player. It's like almost like Gretzky. Gretzky's the greatest hockey player of all time,
bar none.
So should we keep making him number 1, or should we just make it a blanket? Gretzky's the great one.
So okay,
here's the best one. Everything is the best besides Gretzky, or
I
the
don't
best
think. I don't think. If I'm being honest, I personally don't think as great as we've just been talking about it for however long now. If you're using that comparison, I don't think that Hendrix is to music or guitar what Gretzky is to hockey. I think Gretzky is a out and out number one far and away, and his records prove it.
So I'll say and with kind of what you're saying is I actually don't think you can use that I think it's actually a bad comparison because Gretzky is quantifiable.
Yep.
He has the most goals.
Exactly.
He has the most assists. If
Yep.
you take all his goals away,
he could still
has
the
the most points
Yep.
in the NHL. So Gretzky's greatness is quantifiable, whereas Hendrix, when it comes to music and stuff like that, you can't.
No, but
you can't
he just
quantify
belongs in that upper ether. Like he belongs in that, no matter what. I don't think, I don't think in music. I just don't think in music you can quantify, like you said,
exactly
the best because there's so much of it out there. There's so much greatness.
There are albums that have not sold as many albums as you know, I don't know, fucking Sgt. Pepper. But they're still great fucking albums and should be considered some of the greatest albums. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think you can, and I don't think it's fair when you're talking about art to put it in terms of sales. You know,
it's different. It's different.
We look at stuff. We look at pop. We look at, you know what I mean?
Objective as art, you can't.
No.
Yeah,
I
agree.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's a good comparison.
Citizen Kane and Gretzky.
Yes.
And then there's because again you could be we're sitting here talking about Jimi Hendrix, great, and it's easy to go, wow, this guy was just insane. And then you mentioned earlier for a half a second you mentioned Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm like, oh Jesus, like fucking Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like Jesus, like how much better a guitar player can you get?
Top 5 guitar players of all time. Nick's top 5 guitar players of all time. My top 5 guitar players of all time are all going to be different people.
Yeah, there's going to be a few. There'll be a few.
Top 5 because probably none of them will be the same.
So let me tell you the best.
I don't even know who Stevie Ray Vaughan is.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think Paul and I would have. I think Paul and I would have a similar top 5.
Yeah,
and no disrespect, but Eddie Van Halen would not. I very much respect Eddie Van Halen as an insanely good guitar player. But when I'm considering my top 5,
right.
It's tailored to the music that I have listened to most.
Right.
But metal like that I fucking loved when I started playing guitar. I ain't talking about love that dun, 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 dun. Like I wanted to play that. That's what I wanted to,
Yep.
But I was never a huge Van Halen guy. But so that's the only reason why Eddie doesn't make my top 5.
Right, but that's the difference. He's not on your top 5, but you can recognize how good he is. Which is kind of my whole point when I come back because people are like, what do you mean you don't like the Beatles? You don't like Led Zeppelin? No, I don't. They fucking suck. But I recognize their greatness and their contribution to music. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you know what I mean? So like that's the thing. You can sit there and say Eddie Van Halen's not a top 5, which is valid.
Yeah.
But but then you say, but he's a great guitar player.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, do you know what I mean? And that's kind of the whole point. Whereas,
we've said in the past, neither of us really care for John Mayer or Dave Matthews.
They're incredible guitar players. Yeah. Yep, they're incredible guitar players.
Yes. I mean, I know you're all about John Mayer when you're wearing your spandex.
I'm all about John Mayer. Let me tell you. All about certain attributes of John Mayer.
Yes.
Repping the Ducks gear.
Yeah, I know, right? He's all,
The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim.
Yes.
That's old school.
Yes.
One time I was wearing this sweatshirt. I was wearing this T-shirt in a 7-Eleven in Northeast Philadelphia, and a gentleman looked at me and said, "Yo, what's up with that?" I'm like, No. I don't represent the team. I just like Emilio Estevez movies.
You familiar with Gordon Bombay, sir?
Right.
He took a ne'er-do do group of children and turned them into Olympic gold medalists. Show a little fucking respect.
So funny thing when you talk about we're talking about these bands and musicians, it is so funny how sometimes musicians get mismatched on tours. And with genres, like one of them being that. So one of them being was that, and he got booed off the stage. Was Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble was the opening act for Huey Lewis and the News. I think it was on the sports tour. And they lasted maybe I know they didn't last the whole tour because they would get up to play and Huey Lewis did this whole thing about it and was like I can't fucking believe this guy's going up there and he's fucking amazing. And the people are booing him and then we come out and everybody's like and it's great. So you have something like that. One of the biggest fucking mismatched tours ever. In 1967, Hendrix toured as the opening act for the Monkees.
Ouch.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, exactly. And he lasted. What's that?
What year was that?
1967.
Wow.
So he
when this album came out in the UK.
Yes. He lasted about, I think it's funny because I actually went to see the Monkees.
Yeah.
This is it was 3 out of the 4. Mike Nesmith he wasn't performing with them at the time, but I did get to see Mickey, Peter, and Davey. And they talked about it. They talked about the tour where they were there, and like Hendrix is coming out and he's doing his thing, and the people are like the kids who were there to see the Monkees are booing him.
Wow.
And they're backstage like, oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? Like this guy's fucking. How are you booing him? He lasted like 3 or 4, like maybe it was up to 5 of the things, and also so he left because of how the crowd was reacting to it, and also the Daughters of the American Revolution were protesting his shows because they felt that Jimi Hendrix was too erotic to be performing live, and like you're
gonna love the Doors.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, so that's like one of like the mismatches is that Jimi Hendrix was the fucking opening act
for the
fucking Monkees.
That's fucking. If I remember, again, I was born in 1990, so my history might be fucked up. Wasn't the Monkees were a band that weren't a real band that became a real band?
They were
a band.
Well, but they weren't before the TV show.
Right. They came out of
they were a TV show band that became an actual band.
That's how they got the concept.
Neil
educational, because I did not know this.
So not only we're a drinking podcast, we're a literary podcast, we're a music podcast. You said we're already educational because
I already said
not to derail this, but I just found out literally, and I've listened to this music for years. I didn't know that the Zombies were not the fucking Zombies when they started touring. Like after Time of the Season came out, like the band had already broken up, and the record label just slapped together a fucking band to tour as the Zombies. One of the guys in the band, it was Frank Beard and what's his face, not Billy Gibbons, the other guy from ZZ Top.
Okay.
Were in the Zombies band.
Oh, really?
Before ZZ Top.
Oh, wow. That's
just found that out. Yes, I'm like, no way. I had no idea.
And that's because the record label owned the music.
Right. They were like, hey, this song's selling like crazy. We're going to put a tour on.
Yep, exactly. But, we're already an educational podcast. But it's funny because also the Monkees, a lot of Neil Diamond songs the Monkees did.
Yeah. And
Carole
Monkees,
King songs.
I'm out of line here. I don't mind the Monkees, like their greatest hit stuff.
The Monkees are fucking great, and I love I love the TV
every
show.
time someone mentions the Monkees, it reminds me of Dewey Cox, Walk Hard. The bass player goes, "You guys are great. You're almost as good as the Monkees."
Yeah. Well, I thought you were gonna go with like, you can take my children, but you leave me my monkey.
You leave me my monkey.
My monkey.
Yeah, but. No, that's I love the Monkees. I love the TV show. It made me laugh as a kid, and then I had the greatest hits album. I have their albums, and they get like
the style of music that they do.
Oh man,
great music.
It's funny because like even when they're writing their own stuff, it's funny because like I kind of brought that to myself, and I actually messaged a friend of the podcast, Sean from the Unholy Four. I listened to a Mamas and the Papas album. And I was like, I think, and I was like, there's like a fucking direct line between the Monkees and the Mamas and the Papas. And he thought about it for a second. He's like, oh yeah, there really is.
But there's an era of music, like again, like that Zombies, Mamas and the Papas, the Cowsills, and all that. Like, it was that hippy dippy pop music that was, and it's good music.
Yeah.
Like it's fun to listen to. Like I found the Monkees like somewhere between the Beatles and you know what I mean, like somewhere in the poppy form of the Beatles and.
Hi. Well, that's why they made the show.
Right.
Was because of the Beatles. So like, we'll do an American Beatles, and they had an English guy on there. I think Davy Jones was the only one who had a little bit of a career before doing the Monkees.
Right. Worth mentioning that we wouldn't have David Bowie if not for Davy Jones.
Exactly.
So change his name.
Yep. So, so that's great stuff, man. That's fucking, we love the Monkees. We love Jimi Hendrix. I think we think he's a great guitar player. Makes some good songs. So there you go. You got anything else about this album here, Adam?
No, listen to his hits. Listen to Are You Experienced? But listen to this fucking album.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. Like I've heard this album, but again, I'm glad this came up because, and I'm actually kind of glad it's not Are You Experience. Number one, because I own it and it might be on my season 2 list.
There you go.
But spoilers. Number 2
belongs on the list. Anyway.
I never really like analyze this album, which like I said when we listen to this stuff for the podcast, I do delve into it much deeper than just like throwing something on. And in the past, I've just thrown this on, or like I've had used copies to sell that like I have in the background while I'm doing other shit, basically to see if it sounds like shit or if it's going to skip.
And
but I'm not really listening.
Thing about this album is you can listen to this as background noise. This album works as background noise. This album works as deep diving into it.
No, but I'm glad because like again, like I definitely think this is like artistry. This is, and that's why I actually think like I almost want to say that it's like it might be right up there now with Are You Experience because of the artistry about it. Mm-hmm. And Are You Experience's hits? It's Hey Joe. It's Foxy Lady. Yep. It's fucking Purple Haze. You know what I mean? All that shit is like bang bang bang. It's like one after another, one after another, one after another. And this is different. And it's like it's not an album of B-sides either. It's an album on its own, and it's definitely it's like it's like you have the Mona Lisa and Jackson Pollock, and boom. You know what I mean? It's like two different things that are also fucking great. One of them's more popular than the other. But they're both fucking beautiful.
Can likely be said of most artists of this ilk, like Pink Floyd for sure.
Yep.
Like has albums that everybody's familiar with, Dark Side, all that. But a lot of if you ask somebody who's a lifelong Floyd fan or somebody's been listening, they're not going to say Dark Side is their favorite Floyd record. You know what I mean? Because they've made so many just insanely good records. Just like
Although I will actually probably say Dark Side is my favorite.
I mean, it's
real quick. Speaking of Dark Side, if I'm not mistaken, Dark Side is listed as number 3 on the top 40 stoner albums of all time in 2000.
Which is a crime, I believe, because it belongs at the top of the list.
That
to me belongs at the top of the list because whether you partake or not, whether you ever partook in high school and college or whatever, I feel like that was at some point in every rock and roll kid or every music kid or stoner kid's life.
Yeah.
Getting high and putting Dark Side on was a rite of passage. I feel like that was the...
I will say I didn't get that into Dark Side until like much actually later in life.
Yeah.
Whereas like just sitting down and listening to it, I'll be like, man, this is fucking good. This is really good, and there's like so much depth to it. But I mean, we're not doing an episode of Dark Side.
But when you look at so obviously the circumstances,
maybe season 2.
Circumstances are different. They've got 3 records, right? Yes. Obviously because he died.
Yeah.
Now, like I find that again, it's just incredible that their body of work. Okay, albeit only 3 records, but you'd be hard pressed to find any band that you could pick out, no matter how many records that they made, or how good they are, critically acclaimed they are, or anything, that take 3 of their records and have them stack up.
Oh, absolutely.
With these,
absolutely. Like,
speaking of which, I looked up while we were all talking, Are You Experienced, which we've been fucking sucking its dick this whole podcast, number 30 on Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums of all time.
Okay. I mean, top 50, top whatever you would call it. It's pretty
Nick,
incredible.
You said earlier, like, you make 3 albums and they're listed so highly amongst...
Right. All in the top 100.
If you in the top 100 of the top 500.
Right. Of how many records in the entire in the entire world? This guy's all 3 of this band's records are inside of the top 100.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that speaks to his genius. His genius.
Mm-hmm.
His genius. Yeah. So but yeah. So you know who else is a Hendrix fan?
Paul, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
That sweet baby angel who I didn't want to infect with my fever.
Yes. Which I appreciate.
How does she feel about the psychedelic rock movement?
I don't know how she feels about the psychedelic rock movement in general, but I was so fucking happy that she likes this album.
Wow.
She likes Jimi Hendrix, which I was kind of like, I don't know how this is going to go.
I bought her a birthday present last year, pre-listening to this album. She wasn't going to get a birthday present this year.
Dude, did I ever tell you what she does with that piano? So Adam got Regina for her first birthday this like fucking nice like kid piano,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like this thing's like a fucking stand-up piano.
Okay.
So it's on the.
Hashtag Melissa and Doug. If you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
kids,
yeah.
You know what I mean.
I know exactly who they are.
I actually have no idea.
Those people are worth millions, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
They just make
They make really nice children's toys.
wooden
A lot of them are
toys.
like
Yeah.
they're very high quality
Yeah.
children's toys.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay. All right. Cool. So the piano is in her room, like right at the top of her crib.
Sure.
So what'll be great?
Oh, you just told me that she'll reach out, right?
Yeah. Can I tell the story, or do you want to fucking take it from here?
No, tell. I just want to make sure I was thinking about the same thing.
But she'll wake up from her nap or like in the morning or whatever, and like she won't like make that much noise, but she'll be on her belly like, because this is what I'll hear like bit, and we're like, what the fuck? That wakes me up, and I look at the monitor, and there she is, arms stretched out. She's fucking like playing the piano through the fucking crib. It's great.
I just in my head now, I imagine that she's reaching out and just playing the Jaws theme, just the dun.
Yeah, just to wake us up.
Amazing.
That or she'll do the Halloween theme.
Yeah.
From John Carpenter's Halloween. And I'm like, what the fuck is that child doing? So, but no, she definitely loves this album. We actually we listened to it a few times, and she sings at different moments.
Okay.
Like that's one of the things that we factor. Does she like it or does she not like it?
Let me ask you a question, because when listening to Hendrix, I find myself not singing the lyrics as much, but singing the melody of the guitar.
I can see that.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's like a lead vocal. Honestly,
Yeah.
when you have a guitar like that, it kind of
The vocals
becomes
are
a
usually the
lead
guitar.
vocal. Mm-hmm.
She's just kind of matching pitch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think she did do the other day where she actually mimicked. So we were watching Miss Rachel. Are you guys familiar with Miss
No,
Rachel?
not familiar with Miss
So
Rachel.
I don't, my kids there. I think my kids are. We're too old for Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
I think that came out
Yeah,
after
that
the
might
fact.
be.
Yeah.
We might have missed.
So
Miss Rachel,
so Miss Rachel's like YouTube thing, and she like does these like YouTube videos
Sure.
for like little kids.
I'm familiar with
Yeah.
what realms.
Just
Yeah.
bear it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, whatever.
So
let's talk about
even here
Animal.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Are you even fucking here?
cocksucker's not even.
Oh shit! Look at this. Look at
So
this.
wait, Regina is the Wayne Gretzky of humming along to Jimi
Yes,
Hendrix
I think we can all
albums.
agree on
Wayne,
that. The
like
greatest.
Regina is the Wayne Gretzky of the Weiss
I'm
fucking
just-
family, dude. Like, how do
She
you
is
not know
Wayne
this?
Gretzky of life. I'm not gonna lie. She's the best baby ever.
She really is. She really is. She's better than your kids. Your little bastard kids.
No, come on.
No, I
They're
like
all
your kids.
equal
Your kids
here.
are all right. Your kids are all right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Katai. This is as we've
Katana.
mentioned very time.
Wait, I have a question, Paul.
Nick Katai.
If you had to take one artist and listen to them for the rest of your, like, for a whole week straight,
Ooh.
you were locked in a room, who
A
would
week?
it be?
Oh, for a week,
I've
just a
probably
week.
done that.
Yeah. like
The whole
like
week.
just like you're gonna lock me in a room and I can bring one artist like
Their entire catalog you have
an
access to?
album or a catalog.
Like their entire
Yeah.
catalog or just one record?
No, one record.
Ooh. Okay, that's
Ooh,
very
different.
different.
That's
very
fucking
different.
that's a
It
different
is
question.
different. You're right.
Oh, man. See, that's hard without actually picking out the actual like what the album is. Like, man, I almost
If you have to answer next week, that's fine. But I need
no.
to know the answer
This is good.
I have
This
one
is
that
good.
comes
What do
to
you-
mind.
What do you have?
I have one that comes to mind, and it's
Oh, Adam, shut up. This is actually good shit.
and it's the first one that came to mind. Like, so, you know, clearly when you start
That's
saying
a hard
when you
question.
Oh, it's
start
definitely hard.
Anything
like
that's
talking
harder
that
'cause
you
it's
think
not
Dark
like
Side.
whole
We
catalog,
mentioned Dark
one
Side. I'm like,
album.
no, do I want to listen to Dark Side of the Moon for an entire week straight? You know, I'm just thinking
No.
about feel good like music, toe
Uh-huh.
tapping music. What about Rumors?
Fuck you, man. Fucking rumors. You fucking dickhead. Bringing up fucking rumors.
What's his name?
God damn it. Yeah, you don't know my rumor story, do you? Do you know my
Maybe
rumor
if
story?
I do, it's not.
Paul's favorite album is Rumors.
Fuck you.
Okay.
Fuck you and fuck
I see it
rumors.
struck a vein completely,
God damn it.
completely not.
God damn it. Did I ever, have I told the rumor
You
story
probably, if
on
you
this
told it to me,
podcast?
I
I don't
am
think
not
you- I don't think
familiar
you told
with
the
it.
Rumors story online.
All right. Everybody shut up for a second. I'll tell the rumor story. So,
I honestly thought I was going to get punched in the face for a second there.
so here is the rumor story. Here is my disdain with
Listen,
Fleetwood Mac rumors. Okay,
just
so
that one album or Fleetwood Mac en masse?
just that album.
Okay.
So I was, as we all know, I was previously married, and that marriage ended in divorce. That marriage had a little bit of a situation in it that we were in. At the end of the marriage, we were in an open marriage.
Okay.
So the marriage is over. We're still all living together. My ex-wife is like, well, I want a divorce. I was like, fine, like whatever. But her boyfriend was living with us. So, a few months before that, before like things went to shit, Glee had the episode of Fleetwood Mac Rumors.
I would have known that.
Yes.
But...
So my ex-wife downloads Fleetwood Mac Rumors. All of a sudden, it's her favorite fucking album ever. I'm up in Princeton Record Exchange. I'm in Princeton, New Jersey, and I'm flipping through things, and I come across a copy of Rumors. So I messaged her. I was like, "Hey, there's a vinyl copy of Fleetwood Mac Rumors here.
Do you have it? Do you want it?
Would you like me to pick it up for you?" And she's like, "Vinyl's your thing. I don't fucking like vinyl. What the hell are you doing?" So I'm like, "All right, fine. Fuck you. That's more money I can spend on myself now." Okay. So I don't pick it up for her. Fast forward to after we're starting to get a divorce and whatnot, I come home and sitting on like the table is a vinyl copy of Fleetwood Mac Rumors. So her boyfriend who's living with us, I was like, "Yo, what's this here?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I know Jamie really likes Fleetwood Mac Rumors, so I bought her a copy of Fleetwood Mac Rumors." I'm like, dude, just so you know, bad move, man. Like you bought it on vinyl, bad move. She fucking 3 hours later, when she gets home from work, because we were still friends on Facebook at the time, post, "My boyfriend's the greatest. He got me a copy of Fleetwood Mac Rumors on vinyl."
See, but this all sounds like a your problem kind of a thing with Rumors.
But it is my problem.
Nothing to do with the fact that it is an all-time great record.
It was, but
Paul,
here's wait, real quick.
Blood related.
I think he has something important to say.
Fuck Rumors.
Nice, fuck Rumors.
So I agree. Fuck Rumors.
But here's the thing. At that point in my life, though, I realized that I actually could not have saved my marriage. Actually, it wasn't me. It was her. There was nothing I could have done to make it better. So
That's
it
an
actually
easy way to realize
like
that.
It kind of made me feel a little bit better. But anytime Fleetwood Mac Rumors comes up, it's like, fuck Fleetwood Mac Rumors.
Yeah.
It's a good album. It really fucking is. But fuck Fleetwood Mac Rumors.
Okay, fair enough.
Couldn't it have been something else?
Yes, fucking.
So now I know the story. Jesus, I guess I won't be back for a third time. God. No, that's listen.
Yeah, but you think on that question I asked you, and you can answer next week.
Yeah, I am. I am going to answer that next week, because that is really kind of like a tough question to.
I know, it's a hard question.
It's weird because it's not the only thing you listen to for the rest of your life. It's
exactly.
just a week, but it is one record. So are you thinking like, what's the longest record I know?
No, I'm not. Like I kind of like, it's probably between, like right now it's probably between like Fugazi Repeater, The Cure, Head on the Door, and like probably like Rolling Stones, Hot Rocks. You know what I mean? Like there's kind of like I'm
that's
kinda,
it. Okay, well that's okay. But that's now we're
that's,
getting into do you count the double disc compilations,
you know
or is
I mean?
it an actual studio record?
That's a really good. Kadai, that is like the most redeeming thing you've ever said to me for a short amount of time.
You could take one of those box sets over there and probably not even go through it in a week.
I know,
what
right?
I mean? If
exactly.
that counts as a record.
But at any rate, Regina likes this album. That brings Adam to 11 likes and 4 dislikes. Me, I still have the half game lead at 11 likes and 3 dislikes, and we have 9 indifference on this guy here.
I think more importantly, what that statistic tells you is that your daughter's really into music.
She really is into music, which is great.
Very cool.
Oh, so that's what I said when we got before Katai fucking sidetracked us. With the as far as like you would ask, like is she singing the guitar line or she sing, So the other day, like we were watching, she sings in key. She'll match pitches.
Okay.
She's not really doing melody, but and you can hear it. And so like a song will be on, and she'll like kind of babble in that key and that, you know what I mean. And then a different song will come on, and she'll babble in that key. And she's definitely, like I have enough of an ear to like know that she's matching it.
She's there.
So the other day we were watching Miss Rachel, and Miss Rachel did this thing like ha 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 ha, and then all of a sudden I hear Regina go like to the same tone. I'm like, oh fuck, that was pretty cool. So she's getting there. She's developing.
Very cool. Like,
you know
I
what
have
I mean?
of my 2 daughters, one of them will be for sure my concert buddy.
Nice.
Somebody got her a little Bluetooth microphone. Her entire life is a musical. She will sing about everything that's going on in her
Yep.
life every day, and she just doesn't care who's around. She just belts everything
Dude,
out. So
I actually do that with Regina. I'll be like changing her diaper. I'm like, you got the poopy.
Yeah,
We're going to change your diaper because it really stinks right now. And she's just like, fuck you, Dad. So, you know, it's, so no, absolutely. That's great. That's great. So, Adam, since you're on the Max Headroom, top 3 songs.
Top 3. There's a lot. There was a lot that went into this. I realized that I'm a huge fan of Castles. So in no particular order, I'm gonna go Spanish Castle music.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Little Miss Lover.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go Castles Made of Sand. Which, while we were listening to it today, while I was cooking, I was so. No matter how shitty I'm feeling, Katai, if I'm in the presence of the household, Katai will force me to cook. So I was cooking dinner tonight.
So we know why.
I'm playing on Alexa.
So we know why Katai wanted you to move in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
no,
Cool.
no, absolutely. she uses me for my cooking skills.
Yes.
I had the album.
Not your
playing
John
while
Mayer skills.
Yeah. I had the album playing while I was cooking, and she actually commented on this as well. Castles Made of Sand she mentioned how she loves this song as well.
Okay.
it's great.
So Spanish Castle music, Little Miss Lover, and Castles Made of Sand for me, top 3.
Cool. All right, Nick, top 3.
So for me, so going back to this record again, very nostalgic songs on here for me, because like they were, again, for like in my world, in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm going deep with Hendrix with this record. You know what I mean? Everybody else is listening to Purple Haze. I'm listening. So for me, I guess Little Wing was the first one for me. But here's the thing. I'm not.
Little Wing was close on my
So
list.
and here's why I'm hesitant, right? So it's a very short song, Little Wing. Almost a ditty, if you will. I kind of want to put. And I'm not bucking the system here, but I want to squeeze Little Wing and If 6 Were 9 together, because I love that combo.
You can do honorable mentions.
So that
absolutely.
to me, so I'm gonna do that Little Wing If
/
6 Were 9.
Okay.
And again, because that was another one that was cool, because If 6 Were 9 was also on the Easy Rider soundtrack.
Okay.
So I remember having that when I was younger. And I was like, oh shit, that's cool. That's a cool like Jimi Hendrix song that I wasn't aware of.
Well, look,
because it was on.
It's funny, if 6 Were Not was 9, I was looking like they took like a lot of different shit to put that song together while they recorded.
I love it,
which is pretty fucking amazing.
But I just love the doo. But so that was Castles Made of Sand. For me, will always be. That was another one that was. For me, I was like, man, this is great. That song is probably one of my favorite Jimi Hendrix songs, bar none. And Spanish Castle Magic for me was my third for sure.
All right,
but just like I said, just a great record. Really great.
So we're all around the same point together. Again, in no particular order. I got Spanish Castle Music, Little Wing without the 69.
Yeah.
And Castles Made of Sand as my top 3. I think I want to say, isn't Castles Made of Sand is probably like the hit off of this album?
I would say if I had to say, yeah, it definitely is. That was the first song off of this record that I was familiar with as a kid.
I'll say this because this made me think of something. Little Wing actually might be the song where I'm saying where it turns into something.
Paul, for a second.
That's for me, yeah.
You said if that's not the hit off this record, the singles off this record, Up From Skies / One Rainy Wish.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
And I find we didn't say this, we had a joke about it earlier, but when I was on my way, Paul texted me, by the way, we're not counting EXP as a song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But funny enough, the last episode I was on, we had the same conversation about Deja Entendu. Had another song on it that was not really a song.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
we don't count that. But that would have, But yeah, no, that's yeah. So Little Wing is one of my all-time favorites. It's just such a short little thing, and I love If 6 Were 9 so much. Like the lead into it is really great. I think, for me. So
cool. So Nick, we're gonna start with you on this. What is your least favorite on this then?
So again, I don't know if it's truly a least favorite song. because I had to really think about it, and there's really not a least favorite song for me, other than EXP, which we've already decided really doesn't exist in this conversation. So, if you had put a gun to my head and said I had to pick something, it would probably be She's So Fine. But again, I don't hate it. I don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just this is just, to me, this is an all around really great record.
The worst song on the best album is still better than the best
Right,
song.
exactly. I mean, that's, again, this is it. We answer this. You guys answer this question every week, so it's not really a fair question, in my opinion, for this record. It's not fair.
The worst song on this great album is better than anything Say Anything has ever put out. So,
So Paul, what is your least favorite?
honestly, she's so fine, and honestly, it's kind of a cop out. The reason I picked it is because Hendrix doesn't sing it.
That's Mel Redding, right?
I had a little bit of an issue with picking my least because I went through it, and I
it
knew
makes it not feel like an experience song, really, because he sings majority.
Exactly, and I was going to do the EXP as but no, that we did talk about that with the Deja into it's an intro. It's not a real fucking thing.
There are
It's
some
like,
records, and there are some records where the spoken word stuff fits in with the record and it lends itself.
Yep.
This is kind of a weird, almost ethereal in a way, kind of a piece that's in there. It is what it is, but like I said, it doesn't fit like some of the Funkadelic records have some really cool like radio intros and stuff like that kind of fit with the music.
You look at like De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising.
Yep.
Has all sorts of shit in
stuff.
between.
Yep.
Like that intro to of the album, which is like the game show thing. It fucking works with the rest of the album.
It goes into
this.
it.
This is not something I would consider with the album. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But no, I'd have to go with She's So Fine, and honestly, the reason it's a good song, it's just Hendrix isn't singing it.
You had to pick one in that. Yeah.
So what do you got for your least favorite? What is going on?
Oh boy!
I'm happy that
About
did we just do balloons?
She's So Fine.
Man, I think you just developed the stutter.
What's happened?
You went straight Max Headroom there.
Oh, sorry. I'm happy that both mentioned She's So Fine, because She's So Fine would have been. She's So Fine was maybe like number 4 or 5 for my top. Bottom of mine. Wait Until Tomorrow.
Okay.
There's something. There's something about the
Mary.
No, the end of it, like it really dawned on me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Leading up until listening to this song on Alexa, while cooking dinner and listening to the song in my car, 2 different experiences.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny. It's funny you mention that. So like the albums that like we would record like with Birmingham 6, Brett, who produced and engineered all 3 of our albums, when he was sending us mixes, he would actually tell us, listen to it on headphones, listen to it in your car, listen to it on like regular speakers, and then tell me what you think of it.
There's a great scene in the movie Once. Glenn Hansard, Marquetta Arglova, they record a record, and the guy that's mixing the record for them in the studio, they're there's a scene where it's kind of a culmination of them recording it, and then they're listening to it in the studio, and they're all like, hey, this sounds fucking great. And the guy, the producer, takes the tape out of the thing. He goes, let's go. He's like, where are we going? He's like, we're gonna see how it sounds on my shitty car speakers. Like, you got to kind of give it.
You got to hear it all.
All right, Katai distracted me. Were you referencing Once?
Yes.
The shitty car the shitty car speaker test.
It's important.
If it sounds good on
on good
speakers, it has to sound on good 100%. On shitty speakers as well.
100%.
Yeah. Leading up to me listening to it today while cooking dinner on Alexa, If 6 Was 9 was on my bottom.
Wow.
But listening to If 6 Was 9 today on Alexa, put it off the bottom and replaced it with Wait Until Tomorrow. The ending, something about the ending of Wait Until Tomorrow made me want to fucking punch myself in the head.
Okay.
I don't know what it was, but something about it, I just wanted to fucking punch myself in the head.
I'll say If 6 Was 9 kind of got a dishonorable mention, but not like a full dishonorable mention to me. So, all right. So what do we have here? What we have, give me 1 second.
What do we have? So while you're grabbing the record, I'll tell you, I've talked about it before. I dated a girl when I was in college who lived in New Jersey. The record store Tunes.
Yes.
whatever fucking location that I went to with her, that album was just kind of sitting on the shelf, and I was flipping through, and I went, "Oh, Jack Black mentioned that in School of Rock. I should own Axis Ball This Love."
Smells like a fucking
and I picked it up from there.
Oh yeah, smells like a record.
Yeah.
No, it's balls. Smells like water damage, right?
Yeah.
Smells like all of it. Smells like every record that I find in everybody's basement.
Smells like guitar.
Um,
Alright,
So this was the you got a barcode on it. You can tell that's a newer.
oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I wish I found that fucking earlier.
Make-
It would have been
make
easier
your
to
life
fucking
easier.
find this. No, I did find it though. So this is a 2010 remastered reissue. It's 180 gram vinyl with a gatefold and an insert, which your insert looks like it's never been opened. So you got like
you
your
got a poster?
insert there. Yeah, it's actually a little booklet.
Okay.
You know. You know, it's got a little booklet that gets into some stuff, you know, which is pretty cool. I think I just opened it for the first time just right there.
Honestly, you probably have, yeah.
This is authorized by the Hendrix family.
Okay.
So it's an authorized Hendrix family edition. It is an all analog remastered
Wow.
from the original 2-track master tapes. Yes, absolutely. So what they actually did was, as I read about this a little bit, as is a lot of the recording back then, 4-track was like the biggest you could go. So they actually recorded this album on like 2 different 4-track recorders. But they like all ultimately put it down to 2 tracks. They would do the 4 tracks and then like bounce them to mix them to 1 track and this, that, and the other thing. But so they had 2 tracks. What's that?
Seems complicated.
It is, but they had like 2 tracks for drums, 1 track for bass, and then 1 track for Hendrix rhythm guitar. So then they then turned around and mixed those down to bounce tracks, and then they went back and added with like another 4-track to do the lead vocals and the backing vocals and some percussion and whatnot, and ultimately then took that and put that onto 2 tracks. So that is actually where this copy comes from. Which is really neat in like nerdy recording idea of like, you know, of this shit, but ultimately it doesn't actually add that much to value. Your very good plus value on this is $24.39, which we round up to $25, which is probably
Which is pretty reasonable for
Pretty
an all
reasonable.
analog cut.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
That's really nice. Yeah.
So
Honestly, it's probably what I paid for. around
Nice
what I paid
packaging.
for it.
yep. No,
Really
and you
nice
probably
packaging.
did if this.
It's got a nice poly inner.
Yep. This 2010 edition was probably about $25 when it came out.
When Nick just said poly inner, I forgot that Nick is also like a vinyl nerd.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. Oh.
More than you
Dude,
know.
he's got a fucking bag of records for me.
More
It's
than
great. I
more
love
than
it.
you know.
We gotta have Nick
I'm
on
the
more
worst
often.
kind of vinyl nerd. I'm into jazz music.
Yes.
Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.
I like it.
I'm into jazz, motherfucker.
One of those people that pretends to like jazz music.
Yes. So with your value of $25, that brings your running total up to $836. My running total is at $733. So you're back into triple digits. You were up on me by $103. We actually have.
I love that stat. I love that you do that.
Yeah, this is great.
That's
It's
really
just
great.
fun.
Yeah, no, it's great.
We have 12 records to go amongst our 50.
It's a pretty tight race
It
as
is.
far as
It
money
is.
goes. Yeah.
And what's
This
great.
is actually, your podcast is actually a lot cooler than I thought it was.
Katai has written off our podcast as bullshit.
No,
But
I
he's
am
coming
very
around.
it's bullshit, but I'm realizing that there's like aspects to it that are like way cooler than I thought.
You know, we got like 48 other episodes that you can listen to. Just
I
saying.
know, and I will. I'll listen. I will listen.
There's
to
an
it.
episode that if it comes up, you have to be. You said to me you want to be on.
I want to be on one, but none of the ones that you've listed.
No.
Well,
you
no,
said-
no shit.
I want to say, can we do Janis Joplin?
No.
I told her to put it in for
No?
season 2.
No, we already have season 2 set.
Oh, all right. Well, then
If you
I'll
really
wait.
want to see Paul shine, watch the "Is a Real Boy" episode.
Oh, fuck
yeah,
that.
that's it. Yeah.
Fuck.
He hates saying
Yeah, he
things.
does.
And I think it's hilarious. His joke earlier was so fucking funny.
Which one?
Like,
Which one?
almost as bad as say anything.
So I have to ask the statistics that you're keeping.
Yes.
Is it
Yeah.
bragging rights? Is there anything on the line here?
So I think we did we talk about this
Paul
on air?
actually, yeah, in the last
Okay.
episode, Paul actually gave stakes to.
Yes.
To who
Okay.
wins.
So here's what's going to
It's
happen.
just overall, or one for each of these stats that you're keeping.
No, well, this is just for the discounts.
Okay,
To
all right.
discounts
Okay,
value.
for the money, yeah, for
so
the-
what we're going to do is whoever ends up with more value
Sure.
at the end of the season. Number one, I'm gonna get like a big like fucking Flavor Flav kind of chain made up.
Very nice.
And it's gonna have a big D. So one of us is gonna have a big D for the first time in our
time ever,
lives.
sure, yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
and then whoever wins whoever has the biggest D, gets to pick the.
Oh, wait. I heard about your D, and I'm telling you that
Oh boy.
he probably has a bigger D than you.
Is this the first episode of the Peanut Gallery?
This is why. Yeah, it is. This is why nobody likes you, Katai.
I apologize.
No one likes you because you're from Delco.
Well, that too, but no. So and then the other thing with winning the big D
Yeah.
is that you get to pick the first episode of season 2. So
you're handpicking, not by random. You get
no,
to choose.
no. Well, right. You get to choose.
Okay.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
so the first
Yep.
episode of season 2 will not be chosen
at random. Okay.
So here's what's going to happen.
like that.
Here's what's going to happen with season 2. So number one, I don't know if we got into this, but here is what's happening, and this is the only reason I can't do Janis Joplin for you at this point, Katai. So we are shortening season 2 because at this point.
Well, what's the run of season 1 going to be?
Season 1 is going. We're not going to be completed. Season. We are now on February 18th as we're recording this.
Yes.
Season 1 will not be completed until June 9th at the earliest.
And how many
Paul,
episodes will that be?
As Tom, as the official bartender of the Country
Oh,
Hipster podcast has stated, we're redefining the term season.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So we're looking at almost because we know we're gonna have to have some random episodes in there because I'm gonna be busy in March.
Right.
Easter's coming,
Right.
Mother's Day's coming. We're not going to record on those days. You know what I mean? So there's going to be no less than 4 random episodes that we're going to be
Okay,
doing
so adding that
between
into the
now
mix, yeah.
and we have 12 more records in
Actual
our 50
records,
to do
right.
it. So we're going to have at least 16 more episodes. So at this point, at the earliest we're done is going to be season 1 is going to be the middle of June. Right?
Okay, so you're going to have the 50 of the records that you chose, plus all the randoms, which you have 6.
Plus the beer episode, plus the Christmas episode. Do you know
so
what I mean?
roughly we're talking like 70, 75 episodes? Or?
No.
65?
So we're looking at we have at
We're
least
roughly talking about 1,000 episodes.
no, but we're gonna have at least
Season 2 coming early 2026.
yes,
I'll have to pick from something you guys have picked.
at least 16 episodes left.
Okay.
At least
Of season
16
one.
of season 1.
Yes.
Right, and we're on episode 48 now. So do the math. I don't know what's that like. 60,
You're asking the wrong
65,
guy to do math. I
something
got
like
shoes on. I get, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I only got
exactly.
10 fingers
So-
to work with here.
So the way we're doing
I'm
season.
gonna pick one of your albums.
Oh
and
my
I'm gonna
God.
do that.
Shut
one that I
up.
know nothing about.
So here's what we're doing for season 2. We are shortening season 2. We're doing 35 records.
Okay.
Okay, and here's how season 2 is going to work. We're going to do 10 of Adam's albums, 10 of my albums.
Okay.
We've been asking all season long. We stopped asking because people stopped responding. We've been asking all season long for people to make suggestions for season
Okay.
2.
So do some listener
We
albums.
have 10
listener albums.
listener albums.
Cool.
People who listen to the podcast. We already have those 10 set. And then we're going to take 5 random booze and vinyl albums.
Okay.
So just albums that won't necessarily be stuff that would be in either of our collections. But hey, let's just do a random booze and vinyl.
Cool.
So season 2 is going to be 35 episodes instead of...
That's actually
You know,
kind of cool. So
65.
for those 5 episodes, at least, you guys are both going in blind for the most part.
15
Right.
of
Oh,
the
yeah,
35
really. Yeah,
episodes,
'cause
we're going in blind.
Yeah, but it could be, I mean, theoretically,
Yes.
the viewer videos could be records that
Oh,
you're
no, I
familiar
know
with.
what some of them
Yeah,
are.
of course, yeah.
Actually, I know what all of them
Yeah, of course. But
Right.
yeah, no, that's cool. A very good concept. Yeah,
Yes.
because you guys aren't going in with any like, oh, this is my record, this is your record.
Yeah.
It's kind of
So season 2 is 30. It's going to be 35
That's
records, and it's going to be 10 of mine, 10 of Adam's, 10 listeners.
Right, so that'll only
that
take
have
a
already
year
put
and a
it out.
half as opposed to the
Exactly.
3 years that this one is taking. Okay. Yeah.
And
Are
then-
some of the listeners people that you've had on?
What's that?
A couple of
the listener picks were they people that you've had on?
Yes.
Already
Okay.
suggested albums. I know a couple of people
Well, Tom suggested an album.
Okay.
Chris had suggested
All
an
right.
album. Sean from the Unholy Forest suggested an
Okay.
album. So, and other are just like random people who have suggested albums.
How are the Unholy Four, by the way, dealing with all of their increased record sales from all the mentions?
Man,
week?
those guys,
they've
the
gotta be
Unholy
just
Four,
swimming in money. At this
all
point.
they're doing is like snorting
printing money,
cocaine
right.
and
Printing
fucking
money.
drinking
Yeah,
PBRs.
exactly,
like
yeah.
that's all they're fucking doing. I mean,
Living
that's
the
all they
dream.
did before.
Living the dream. Right. But now they're doing
they're
it
doing it
with
even
more
more so.
notoriety. Yeah. With millions
Yes.
more listens on their song.
Yes.
Dirty
So Let is right. So that's what I was gonna say. We have 12 albums left in this season of our 50, and we actually have 6 each. So we're actually even again.
Neck and neck. Okay.
Neck and neck.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
Oh shit.
we got to pick a new one.
Get Michael Stripe.
Michael Stripe.
I got Michael Stripe. I'll stroke Michael Stripe. Nick, which rush do you want forward?
That was this moving pictures
all
works.
right, all right.
Exit stage left. We'll go with. All right.
All right. So
Number 49.
number 49. Woo.
Okay.
My voice cracked. I've been a little congested.
What color?
I don't know. It's
Ooh,
blue.
It's blue. It's blue.
blue.
What's that mean?
It's probably
That
Adam.
be me?
Probably Adam.
Probably Adam.
The winner is.
It is Adam. Oh.
What is it?
The last of your albums I'm really not looking forward to. It is Alkaline Trio, Good Morning.
Oh shit.
Oh, he's gonna
Dude,
So no, Alkaline Trio. I've been waiting for this to come up.
I know you have.
because Alkaline Trio is really hit or. I feel like it will be really hit or
I would
miss
not
for
have
you.
been
man.
able to read that.
I
I would
yeah.
not have been able to read that. Had you handed it to me, had this been an award show, I would have been like, I have no idea who won.
You would have been like La La Land.
Like, I can see it now that you've said it. Yeah, now that you've said it. Yeah, now I can see
You
it.
were like La La Land. No, it is something else.
Oh, do you have any experience with Alkaline Trio?
Not really. I know, like, I want to say the things I've heard by
I have
Alkaline
no
Trio, I have probably not liked because I never really, like, got into Alkaline Trio.
What genre are we talking, Adam?
They're fucking straight punk.
Straight punk, okay.
They're not pop punk. I will say that
Okay,
I don't
straight
think
punk.
they're pop punk, right?
That should be more palatable for you.
It should
What do
be.
you were kind of breaking up a little bit. What'd you say? They're
I
not.
I would not consider Alkaline Trio to be pop punk.
What would you consider them?
Just punk, just straight punk. There's a difference between straight punk and pop punk.
Yeah.
I think what I've heard of them, I've just considered just straight punk, and I think maybe, and again, I haven't listened to them in a while. I haven't heard this album, so I'm saying this tongue in cheek because, like, I'm saying it somewhat uneducated. I think as much as I love punk, I think a lot of punk. You have the really great punk bands, and then you have all the punk bands who are trying to be the really great punk bands. And I think Alkaline Trio falls into that. We're trying to be the really great punk bands, and that's why they have to this point in my life they have not stood out amongst the great punk bands for me.
That's fair.
Maybe that changes with this album. I don't know. This is going to be the first time I'm really delving into Alkaline Trio. So I am going into this with an open mind. I'm not really looking forward to it just based on my limited experience of Alkaline Trio. But I'm going to fucking give it a shot. You know what I mean?
That's
We'll
how
see
you
what
know
happens.
that next week's episode's going to be killer when the host is like, I'm really not looking forward to this. We're just, we got to do this. We're going through the motions here,
Yes.
but,
Yes.
But do
So-
tune in to see Paul's misery
Oh,
while he
yes.
has to listen to another modern punk record.
Paul, do we have any special guests possibly lined up for next week?
I don't think so.
I think I remember there's like 2 or 3, and I'm pretty sure they're all my records that we don't have special guests lined up for, and I couldn't remember if this is one of them.
I think this and one other are the ones that we don't have potential guests for. So, and I know what the one other is. So, but I think all the other episodes are either Booze and Vinyl or we have the potential of a guest on them. So there you go. So Adam, do you have anything else to say about Jimi Hendrix Axis Bold as Love?
No, I just
He froze again. Oh, there you go.
it's a just listen to it, and it's a very good. I think I really appreciate this album as just a sit back and listen to and chill through record.
Cool.
If you partake in the top 40 stoner albums of all time, by all means. But it's I can definitely see how it would fall into that category. But just listen to it. Like I say, for everything, listen to it and develop your own opinion.
Nice. Nick, do you have anything else to say?
No. Just happy that I was able to dust this one off and get back to it. It was a very enjoyable, return to listening to this one, and just an overall great record.
Awesome.
You should own it. Everybody should own it.
Awesome, cool. Well, thank you, Nick, for being on. Katai,
Always
thank you for
happy to be
interjecting, and thank you for throwing your kids on there. Unlike you, your kids are beautiful, and And if anybody else, are we good? Are we good to adjourn? All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. It's time to move.